This is not the song I want to play.
Revolution.
That song screams revolution. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, this is one of those. All right, we'll go ahead and start with Etney and Alstro because I know that one won't take too long. And so Alstro, probably like shortly before you're to leave and head off to Etney will track you down as you're getting ready to go about your business, and so Etney finds you and she'll kind of flag you down and will approach and she'll say, "Do you have a moment to talk, Alstro?"
Yes. Though I will be leaving shortly.
I don't want to hold you up too much. I know that you and your group have quite a bit to take care of.
I have time. All night, basically.
She kind of like cocks her head to the side and is like, "Oh."
Oh. I was supposing Jacob would tell you the specifics of my current condition. But I suppose not. And she would then, like, kind of explain certain things.
And she like, her eyebrows kind of raised, like she clearly got the Spark Notes version, but didn't get every detail. Well, that certainly should come in handy, I imagine.
Indeed. Though, if you happen to come across a unicorn or pegasi that has passed away, just let me know. She says jokingly.
I'll make sure to do so. Alstro, there was a couple of things I wanted to bring to the table regarding well, you're going to Brimrad.
Yes? Please ask away.
We still know virtually nothing about the status of how the Council of Vermin is planning to what the Council of Vermin is planning to do during this entire conflict. I was wondering if you had heard anything else beyond just what Jacob told.
I'm not entirely sure that the council knows what they're planning on doing. Things have changed a lot since a year ago.
That's certainly the truth.
Suppose they're seeing where things will go, see where the winds blow. But that's where I come in. I intend to attempt to nudge them towards helping. Bring forth the idea of cooperating as opposed to biding their time. And as certain council leaders will do as they will, I'll see which ones cooperate and which ones don't. That's the plan of it.
And what of this, well, though I imagine it's not his true name, Martin?
Ah, yes.
Jacob told me that he was one of the Raynors. Troubling, given the interactions that we've had with the past. I suppose the entire thing would kind of break down if everybody knew about who the individuals that had some sway in your clandestine friends. But it still doesn't do me. It still doesn't do me any peace of mine to know that he was one of them.
Elstro sighs. Martin is a curious fellow.
So Jacob implied.
Very guarded. Very, very guarded. That's fortunately all I can. Jacob and I try and get him to open up a bit. Fortunately, the press that we've made on it might defy proof details.
She kind of scratched the back of her head and, that's about as cryptic as Jacob was about this. This guy must have some pretty serious baggage.
Quite.
She sighs and kind of puts her hands up. It's not really my place to pry. Alstro, I'm counting on you with all of this because I don't know what to do about any of the council, and I've never been good at watching my six as far as sneaky types are concerned.
Well, ultimately, I'll see what can be done. And I'll see if I can keep my... I'll let you know as soon as I know what exactly is going on.
I appreciate it.
And Elstra's probably going to go hug at me because it's been a while.
She'll hug you with a smile, but business aside, Alstro, how are you doing? With, well, everything.
It's difficult, but Jacob helped. Got me to talk about some difficult things. Though I guess it took him calling me out on it to really understand how angry I was at both the council and you for, well, kind of just gestures to... But such things are in the past. And I'm sorry for the way I acted.
And I'm sorry for keeping that, or for not informing of the decision that we made.
Though, granted, Etne, now that you know who Martin is, might I ask what happened?
She smirks and she says, I suppose I owe you that much. It was not long after you rode off to inform Flint that we were successful in Brimrat. Martin approached me. And he informed me that the Council of Vermin believed it would be for the best that we'd take action. They had discovered evidence, as you know, that ransoming them back to the capital wouldn't do anything. The chances are they would either outright deny it or agree only to frame us for going back on our word. Use it as an excuse to remove the two of them from the board. I don't know how true that was, Alstromeria. But I had to take their word for it. If we were to ransom them back to the capital and Millicent had them killed on the road and had us framed for it, everything that we started, everything that we've done would fall apart. I took no pleasure in what I did.
No.
But it's something that to be done.
I don't understand why you kept it from me.
After I received them, I would be lying if I said I didn't question. If that has fault, what would happen if we would have tried to ransom the capital? But
Knowing
sorry.
Millicent, it's definitive. But now that done is done, there's really to drink what could have happened.
Yes, that's what I've told myself as well. There can't be time for that. Look at what's happened since. Look at all we built. We stand on now.
Indeed.
She kind of like looks down her hand for us. If I had to be the one to get blood on my hands to start all of this, there's no time for regret. There's no time for second guesses. I think you and I would both share the sentiment that there's not much that we wouldn't give to see our home a better place for everyone.
Indeed. So let's make these sacrifices count.
She nods. Every last one.
A lot has certainly happened in a year. What were you going to say?
Yeah, it has. No. And we've all lost a lot. I'm afraid we're going to lose a lot more before the end of this. But that's the way of it.
Such is the nature of war. But let's not end this conversation on a grim note. So what do you think of your nephew?
It's strange, I guess, is the best thing I can. He's so familiar.
That makes sense, as he's a lot like you. Elster says as she crosses her arms.
I didn't want to be the one to say it.
Everybody else has by this point. Well, that's met the both of you.
And yet, he hadn't met me until, well, into his young adulthood, which I suppose says a thing about how my brother raised him. He's a good lad. I never thought I would have I would never thought I would be able to say that I would meet the rest of my family. But yet here we are, fighting side by side along him and men and women that just a few months ago were clamoring to capture me and drag me back to Arcanon. The depths of what the human spirit is capable of sometimes really leaves me breathless. And this is all proof of that.
Indeed.
That said, I've taken up plenty of your time, Alstro. I know you've got plenty of, well, she just kind of like gestures to you, plenty of council business and all of that.
Well, I'll should be off that. Is there any... Well, Connor's already sending a letter with me, so is there anything that you want to send?
She shakes her head and says, I don't believe that a letter from me would do anything to convince the Council of Vermin to do anything other than what they're already planning on doing. I don't think they've ever seen me as more than just a pawn, personally. Which, while disquieting, I understand. So I suppose with this, Alstro, I'm putting my faith in you.
Then I'll try.
You. I'll be sure to thank Jacob once he comes. I didn't know that he a boon for you. I look forward to seeing against we all. Okay.
Forwarding him again. Also, please enjoy the wine.
Would you believe me if I said I've already said it?
Don't drink it all at once.
I will.
Gives another.
And she'll look back and say, well, I did it to Jack. I wouldn't want to. I would for my second return. As tempting as that is.
Well, I wish best of luck then.
And you as well.
He says.
There's only so much room for temperance on a battlefield, Alstromeria.
Well, I'm sure you of all people will be able to find it.
She'll smile as she'll look up and kind of rub her neck, and she'll head back to whatever business she has to take care of next. Right. Let us see. What do we want to do next? Did we want to do the flag thing? Or Steph, do you want to wait until you actually head downstairs for that? Because she's currently so we could wait till she has an mic.
Is Steph dead?
She could be. A distinct possibility. I could go check on a while. Or in a little bit. Yeah, we can wait a bit later. But
Steph's typing. She's not dead.
is she alive? Oh yeah,
Oh,
Brent's
Brent's
also
on.
not right.
No.
Alright. Let's see. What else do we want to do? Does anybody have anything else they would like to do? Because I have the only other things I have planned for today are specifically based on things that I know that people wanted to do. I have the flag reveal officially. I know that Alster and Connor wanted to talk to Rinzu and try and see if they couldn't learn something. And then I also have Connor and Ennie stuff and some Apollo stuff. But PV's not back.
Mhm.
Brent is on his way home. So if anybody's got anything, by all means. Oh, and then we also can do stuff based on the away group, which most of the group is here. Or
Yeah.
actually, no, just Cat's here. Never mind.
Just I'm here.
Just Cat, you did it.
I have a question. When's
Yeah, what's
William
up?
gonna be coming back? Cry.
As far as correspondence with Richard and William have led you to believe, he will probably not be able to meet back up with you guys until until very shortly before the final battle.
Oh, okay. I'm just gonna go sad break then. Bye.
Yay.
Chances are he's not going to be able to get. Basically, because of the fact that a war has begun, it's going to be a lot harder for people to actually get past the boundaries of where Arcanon is at, and so you'll probably have to wait until you actually start sieging Brimrad, or fuck Arcanon, not Brimrad. Wrong side of the continent. Probably have to wait until the actual attack on Arcanon itself to meet back up with them.
Do we get Lion back too?
Yeah, he'll be there.
God.
Yay.
I can only think of him as pink.
Mm.
Like he was just a pink lion.
Demeanor is basically the same.
Like
Lion.
that's all I can imagine.
He's a crime lion, though. He
I
does crime.
mean, sometimes you have a crime lion, and sometimes you have a not crime lion. It's okay, right? That's how things work.
Crime
Crime lion.
lion.
Also, for anyone who's played Undertale, which I already sent Eric and Rick the picture, but for anybody else, I definitely have a papyrus background as my computer background right now.
Oh,
What? The flirting? It's the best.
If you want, I can at least like inform you guys about generally what happened in the aftermath of the Mnet stuff,
That works.
and then we can kind of keep everybody else appraised because Brian will feasibly be able to be informed later.
So,
As
we
far
waiting
as
for them
the-
to come back, or
what's up?
are we waiting for them to come back, or is
No, both of the other missions will probably be gone by the time they get back.
okay?
You're not
And,
gonna know about what happened
Come
until you
on.
get back.
What? I don't
That
even know
also
if it's
leads me
mission.
to believe that I actually want to wait for the actual return interactions until we know approximately when everybody else will be getting back. Because other groups might get
Mhm.
back earlier. It depends on how long things take.
Right.
So, but we will get to that once I have a better scope of how long the groups will be out.
And we can just pry open that wound again.
Yep.
Oh God. But
Hey,
it was
Ven,
almost
let's
healed.
And then you guys can have like a sad ceremony for all of the people who die in these missions. Because Jacob is the first.
Lovely.
There might be more. Who knows?
Oh God, I hope not.
Then everyone fucking dies.
And
No.
on that note, things of note from Mnet. The city was tentatively taken by the blood and allied forces. Thankfully, Jared was able to convince a small deal of the soldiers that he had once commanded rather to assist in the taking of the city. The battle was very protracted and it lasted a bit longer than that, which I imagine you guys, those of you who were still able to fight for a bit, probably helped secure the rest of the town a bit more too. But eventually, the loyalist fortress were either forced into retreat or captured. Factories were also secured, as well as the resources from within. Obviously, Jacob was killed in action, but so too was Nathaniel Kane. Jared was able to best him, though it was a very close one. He was able to best him using using Jacob's death as a distraction to overpower the superior fighter. Because while Jared is no slouch, Kane was a very, very adept fighter.
Did
But he was
Jared take the Worm Slayer he had?
He did, yes. He had
Okay.
the weapons that Jared had, or that Kane had, if you guys want them. Totally. He also had a blessed spear. During the process of all of this, as a brief kind of summary of the of this, as like a sit rep of Emnet, Jared does not believe that you guys will be able to hold the city indefinitely, unless you brought a substantial group of forces here to protect it, because it is also closer to Arcanon than Dalhurst is, and especially considering the fighting style of most of the people who are holding it, as effectively a portion of Flint's gang, plus some of the other allied gangs that he is that his people call their friends. It's them plus some of the soldiers that have been left behind, plus some of the sons and daughters that have been called in to enforce it. It would be nearly impossible to hold this thing indefinitely, and so as all this is going, Colonel Jared is actually going to remain in Emnet, and is going to oversee the defense of the city itself, and is going to coordinate the counterattacks to try and prevent it from being lost. He obviously will lead forces from Emnet when the time has come on the final attack to siege Arcanon itself, which would be nice because that means that you guys will have forces coming from multiple different directions.
And did we get a lot of like the Lagus and Togwell from the factories also?
A portion of them have pledged to fight. Not all of them. Many of the citizens obviously are disincentive themselves in. Others have continued to work those of the factories and will continue producing things for you guys instead of the other groups. Some of the more brilliant minds from amongst both factions of the Blood of Ilga are all going to be in, see if they can't finish work on some, to see if you guys might get a few of those, as they might come into when fighting the aerial superiority the Loyalist force spends themselves have almost completely made. About 70%, about 70% of the total number, or the total Brotherhood of the Paladins was located in Emnet. In the aftermath of it, about half of them have been captured. The other half were casualties during the fight, who refused to surrender. Those that remain, however, are prisoners of war. None of them seem to have any intention of turning coat to help you. Many of them, which will be rather interesting, are actually former brothers in arms with Tristan, as that turns out, as Tristan once served with the Paladins. Even said he will not be able to fight for you guys.
Did we get some Pegasus Knights?
There were some Pegasus Knights that surrendered, and after the one that's the one that you saved, plus the others that had turned against, the four that were hit in the blast of the fireball were critically injured. One of them did not survive his injuries. The other ones are definitely not going to be fighting again in this war, and one of them in particular will probably never fight again. But they will also be transported back to Dalhurst, where I imagine Elliot's actually going to oversee like the helping of these guys to make sure that they're good. A couple of the mercenaries actually also might stay to help treat some of the wounded. I actually wouldn't be surprised if Elliot and Marilyn stayed, and they also rendezvoused with you at later on, especially because of the amount of wounded here. Elliot feels like it would be safer to actually do that, so he actually might stay here and make a bit of a hospital to help keep the fighters who are going to be protecting this city going for a little bit longer. So Elliot and Marilyn will probably not be accompanying you guys back, but they'll obviously meet you for the final siege. After Jacob's death, Vic took Jacob's body and rode off on Tempest for a bit. She caught up with you about 3 days later after you already were making your way on the road. She likely went to bury him at the home that she grew up in, which she now owns, in a memorial next to her father. But she caught back up with you guys, and Flint is also going to be coming back because he needs to be there to tell Eddie. Even though he knows that it's probably a better tactical move to stay here, he's got enough men and women that he trusts to put in command that he'll be able to keep them back with the rest of his riders. A small group of which are coming with you guys as well. But there are a number of Pegasus Knights that willingly surrendered and pledged themselves to Connor, rather than the groups that they were with. It's not a large group, but it's some. The majority of the Pegasus Knights were not deployed here. It was a small contingent, and many of them were captured or killed and are still loyal. But those that listen to the words of the others that you were with, some of them will turn tail and fight alongside of you. So you will have a small contingent of Pegasus Knights to go with you as well. Ophelia is kind of taken command of that unit as well, kind of making a makeshift Pegasus Rider unit here. But she and those Pegasus Knights that are still hale and healthy will be returning back to Dalhurst with the rest of you. Let me take a look at the rest of the cast that was there, see if anybody else is staying back. I wouldn't be surprised if Starling was going to stay there too, and was actually going to coordinate with the remaining members of your old group, Alstro, and get them there because Ren specifically is pretty good with the kind of technology that they're working with here, and so she'll probably stay there and help coordinate with that.
And then I deploy Bear there with because he thinks that Vic's there.
And then she's
and
not.
Then Vic's going, and because that's what Jacob would have wanted.
It's what Jacob would have wanted. Oh no. But yeah, Ophelia, Wilson, and Vic, and Ophelia, Wilson, Vic, and Flint. Thank you. We'll return and on that note, Reno and Sting will also return because now that their commanding officer is down, the chain of command needs to be adjusted as far as they are concerned as well.
Are they just going to default to Etney then?
Well, Etney effectively needs a new second in command.
Gotcha.
And so somebody else is going to end up filling those shoes. Most likely Jack will fill that slot, and his position filled by another.
Mm-hmm.
As he was basically that was kind of the direction the chain of command kind of was going. And so they will be heading back as well. Sting will probably stay back in M to help reinforce and organize some of the ragtag Lagus and Togwell militia that she's kind of putting together. But Reno will head back to help get them more. Did you guys have any other questions about the situation out there?
So ultimately, it's probably safe to say that they can probably hold the factories up until the final battle.
Yeah, most likely they will be able to hold it with some difficulty, but nothing that you guys will be able to really do anything about, as far as that's concerned. And all of you guys would be more help being able to coordinate from the situation there. And Jared would, if anybody at the seas, he'd no go. You guys would be useful elsewhere. But Jared, of course, sends his regards back to and promises that Emnon is not going to green until war over. But he also actively says, don't sit your hands about it though, because he's not sure how long city, but provided for the rest of the war effort goes in a positive way that he's hoping happen. In fact, you do outnumber them. He's hoping that they will be pushed back to soon, and he's hoping to go up as far as that. So.
Did anything happen on the way back, or were we
No,
clear?
no random encounters. I never do random on the trip back for this campaign at least.
All right, so everybody that was coming back arrived safely.
Yeah. Everybody that went with you, you guys were unaccosted, and you also, because the fighting has kind of become more fierce. You guys didn't have to sneak around as much because you weren't going through enemy territory, but there were battles that were happening nearby. So you probably had to dip south a little bit, away from loyalist lines to which won't really affect you. You guys will still get back faster than you got there.
Mm-hmm. Were there any Wyvern Riders deployed this way, or were they elsewhere?
Now that the city's been secured, I would not be surprised if a small group of Wyvern Riders was sent here to help bolster the some of the rest of the forces. So probably one of your corporals underneath you was probably sent to help and reinforce with a small group, not the whole group, obviously, but
Probably Ambrose, honestly.
that was the one that I was kind of thinking too.
Yeah.
So he'll be able to work with with Jared and make sure that that Emnet is as secure as it will be for this fight.
So basically, once we get back, Ambrose is just going to be deployed out there.
Most likely, yeah,
Okay.
with a small contingent at his command. So. Yeah. Was there any other questions about the status of the end there? As far as demeanor is concerned, Vic was obviously understandably pretty quiet on the ride home.
She did just lose her dad.
As I mentioned before, she obviously is now riding Tempest, and is also now wearing Jacob's old hat, as well as some other paraphernalia that she grabbed from the house.
It was probably honestly a pretty quiet ride home
Yeah.
overall.
Most likely. But yeah. As far as the war effort itself, the fighting has been pretty fierce, especially around like central Lagala. The battle lines have been back and forth, and most of the battles have been either close or victories for the blood of Lagala. I rolled exactly a 50.
Okay, so we're doing
So-
decent.
Yeah, so the battle is going well. Right now, it definitely is it's a matter of you guys have the numerical superiority, but they have a greater amount of resource. That said, their resources are also much more finite, especially now that you guys have deprived them of Mnet. Recon over the next week and a half that you guys have been able to make, supply lines are dropping. Millicent's forces are having trouble with sustained fights now.
So they're basically getting starved out.
They have resources, but Mnet was a huge producer of weapons, armor, and other sundries that they needed. They don't. Not only do they no longer have that, but you guys have that. And though the facilities will not be producing with the same amount of efficiency, because I also imagine that they're being dialed back a bit. So that they're not working 12-hour days with like one break.
Yeah.
It's you're not producing as much, but they're not producing any. And so it's still a big swing
It's
in your
still a net
direction.
gain.
So all in all, as Reno is able to keep you appraised with some of his own scouts, and some of the Zodian scouts that have been working with him, you guys have slow tides outright. They still have the as far as air is concerned, which that was two most difficult you guys will have to. But yeah, really speaking, that's kind of where we're at with
Unfortunately, they're not very good.
but so that's kind of the situation that stands at the end of
All things considered, stands pretty well.
Yeah, no, like honestly speaking, like it was 4 casualties on both, but no, was and yeah, so mission 1 was good. We get it.
Objective complete.
Yeah. So yeah. See. And yeah, obviously, through the course of things, if you guys need on the ride home, until I have everybody's back, we can see.
Brent is home.
Right.
I don't think there's probably a whole lot to say.
No, probably not. But in the future, we could do that during background scenes too. But yeah, on top of that, also Alstro. During before you left, and before Elliot left, Elliot has been working. Rick actually reminded me. Elliot has still been working on that poultice to help with to help fix and stem the tide of the disease and illness that's been gripping Brimrad for some time. And through Davian, Alstro would have been given a small kind of alpha test of it to distribute amongst some of the lay workers there to see if you couldn't help as far as that's concerned. So you probably would be given that too, and when you get to Brimrad, we'll be able to pass that out to some of the folk that are trying to help. Because as it turns out, between the stuff that he learned in Zodia, the stuff he got in Zodia, and the being able to talk to some rather talented and gifted alchemists, including but not limited to Delia, it was he's been able to make some pretty good strides into what he hopes might be a cure in the future. So, since he's not going to be returning, he also would have made sure that you had a little bit of that, so that you could see if that starts helping.
I can start distributing it. Gee, I hope this doesn't backfire. It probably won't. You can count on me to be your delivery woman, Elliot. Salutes.
And let me see how that Oh, nice. Okay. First batch is will be pretty functional. Good. Right.
Now, also, am I distributing this on behalf of the Blood of Legala, or just...
Well,
That is entirely dependent on Elliot, actually.
it's true, but it would be beneficial for our reputation.
Yeah, no, totally. Like, if you want to, I imagine he would probably push his glasses up and, like, with a gentle smirk, would just kind of say, if my strides in modern medicine are going to be used to improve our reputation more effort to a point that it may prevent further bloodshed from occurring, then absolutely.
Noted.
In which Elliot becomes fucking famous.
He's a famous rebel now.
Oh god. It's alright. We're all rebels now. Like it's fine.
We're all rebels now.
It should be noted that Elliot is going to be treating soldiers from both sides, including prisoners and both prisoners and blood soldiers, obviously,
That's good. Good press.
because like the Hippocratic Oath does not exist right now, but if it did, Elliot would probably be the one who wrote it. No one deserves to suffer.
Attaboy.
You know, absolutely. He is the Megane character.
This guy's getting a promotion.
To what? Chief medic of the Mercer Brigade?
Whoa! I mean, who said we're going to be mercenaries for long?
Promote you to doctor.
Doctor.
You're now Dr. Elliot Serrano.
Davian, I don't
Davian.
think you have the power to do that.
Yeah, anyways.
I don't think medical licenses are granted
No, that's unfortunate.
like that.
Huh. The more you know.
It's a Brent.
Fairgrounds is letting us sit, being jerk.
Weird.
I'm here.
He is here.
Steam also.
Maybe it's you.
It's probably. It's stuff a computer.
Sucks to suck.
Rules then. Then we mess up. Not me.
You can't be mad at both of us?
Joke's on you. I'm always mad at me.
Ha! Joke's on you. I hate myself.
Actual Connor and Elster conversation. Think I can't be mad at both of us? I will.
All right. And so so the two of you guys, upon putting your heads together, decided that you guys both wanted to take a closer look at Rinzu's hex, correct?
That seems to be the general direction.
So Rinzu, you're probably hanging about speaking with individuals, a performance, watching Westland trying to run drills with all of these untested all these fucking untested like school students who are like, yeah, we'll do this. We'll rebel against our parents.
You know.
Actually, I'm curious how that's working out. Let's see. Leadership. Let's see how well this is working. It's not working as well as it could initially. It's going to take some time to get these guys organized. As the students are not taking this seriously enough, which Westland is trying to curb.
They're college students.
Yeah, no, straight up. At least some of them are definitely using this as a convenient excuse to get out of going to class for the foreseeable future.
Oh my God.
Which
Bitches.
Of course
which
they are.
those ones in particular are definitely the ones that are getting the brunt of Westland's wrath.
I was gonna say, aren't those the ones that got slammed down?
At least most of the ones that have been causing problems are those ones. Several of them have actually left upon realizing, like, oh shit, this is not quite what I thought it was.
What do you mean I have to try?
You know.
Pretty much, yeah. But
Shit,
many
go
and
back
more
to
are
Archon.
actually committed to this idea, even if it's still rather disorganized. But it's baby steps, you know. But yeah, at some point, Rinzu, Connor and Alstro will be able to track you.
Good afternoon, Rinzu.
Afternoon.
Do you remember that thing that we talked about?
She's just going to wave her wrists, kind of not hard.
Understood. Well, Connor and myself would like to essentially put our heads together and see if we can figure out anything. Would you be all right with that?
I don't see a problem with it.
All right,
Be
then.
my guest.
Okay, then, so I guess we just find us a good corner. No, we'll probably just there are labs in the or health places.
Fucking
In-
labs. Okay, no, I'm not okay with this now.
There are health places at like the infirmary. Infirmary is the word.
There's the word.
There's the word. I don't want to go to a lab. No thanks.
Actually, a lab might be the right place to go.
No, we're
I
not
don't-
really gonna do mad
we all
science.
know
Brett.
I don't know if there are any
Fine.
labs in Dalhurst. I mean, I guess if you went to the college would
Yeah,
probably
that's what I was
have
about to
stuff.
say. Like, isn't there a mage college nearby that we could go to and
Oh,
use
we
their
could go to
stuff?
the mage.
I feel like an infirmary would be more careful, and we can move some lab stuff
I
from
mean,
the
the
lab to
mage
the
college
infirmary.
also probably has an infirmary.
Yeah, it would. Honestly,
So, to the mage college.
the mage college is probably like the best place that you guys fucking have for a lot of things.
To
Also, I
the
feel like
college.
This bickering just kind of happens.
I don't know people there.
It's important to honor because we want people to feel comfortable.
I think this would be better.
Comfort is better.
No, it's not.
You- You're both not being fair about that.
At least I'm trying.
Also, are you dragging Westlin along for this? Or
Will
this
I
we're
go?
just- I mean,
No support.
Please.
all right, yeah, Westlin will. And yeah, you guys will find a suitable place as the college is kind of also reformatted into like a base of operations, probably for like most of the mages that are on your side. By the way, the at least a few diviners that came with you guys are like in heaven. They basically just have a college that they can hang out with. So some of the Zodian diviners are just kind of like about, just like reading.
They have books on things that aren't the stars?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Though, at least you do pass at least one diviner in a hot debate with a Legolan mage about the efficacy of some of the magics that they're talking about. It's pretty comical. But yeah, and actually, I wouldn't be surprised if the Church of Dristan also ended up probably converting the because there definitely would be religious places here. They've probably kind of taken that place over as like a base of operations for that. So they've probably taken that, and then some of the other churches around that are scattered across the little towns, and that's kind of where they're at. So you of course would encounter a couple of them too. So, but yeah, you guys would find a place, and so what are you guys doing? What are you thinking? What are you planning?
Well, I was thinking like probably just a kind of like bluestone based investigation and Brent, did you have any ideas? Brent.
Hold on, I was teasing her. Sorry.
He was going to pull all of the lore out of my body and then put it back.
Do it.
No.
Do it.
No, I'd rather
This and
not.
then this is where Alstro just guides Connor into ripping out Rinzu's lore right here and right now. And
God.
And then
God.
Weston has a big
Weston
issue.
watches.
As Westland watches.
As Westland watches passively.
Man, I hope they're doing okay. And then suddenly Rinzu's dead.
Oh my god! And then Alstrom just kills him and just eats his lore. And then this, over the course of the next several weeks, this just happens periodically. Just all the player characters just get dragged in here, and then they just eat them.
Oh my god, that's terrible. Anyway,
But not really.
well,
I guess the first things first is we need to see what is left and if we can discern exactly what it's doing.
yeah.
All right. So first off, then, so first off, you guys are doing an examination. Yes.
Yes, that seems
All
like
right.
a reasonable place to start.
So go ahead and Connor, go ahead and make a knowledge lore check, and get 2 boost dice for the assistance.
And I straight up can't get onto fantasy ground, so I am leaving
That's weird.
things in your capable hands. It sometimes does this, and I need to
Yep.
restart the computer.
You might
I
just
don't
have to-
like doing that.
Oh, you're fine.
Right
Yeah,
now.
you won't. You won't need. And difficulty will be. Sorry, I totally forgot to say the difficulty.
Yeah, I was waiting.
Let's we'll make it 3.
Also, for example of an examination, we could probably just see, like, Connor, what he did before to remove it and see how it interacts with the thread.
Hey,
Okay. All right. So you guys were specifically looking to see what all was left. Yes.
what was left, and if we could discern exactly how it's interacting with her?
Okay. With those successes, you can confidently say that effectively the only thing that remains with this hex, with this magic, the only thing that remains is basically kind of a magical scar. Not only does obviously it allows her to discern her location, and generally her distance. It's hard to say exactly what, but there is a draw, an innate magical draw. It's not compulsing her to do anything, or affecting her physically, but there is an innate magical draw, that is connecting, the arcane stitching to something. You can presume that something is likely itself. Where it's at.
Can we actually reverse engineer that to a degree to determine where it is, like where it's drawing her to?
How invasive would that be?
Yeah, also
Sorry.
that.
One more time with that. Steph came down and
Oh, but
had a
would
thing
we
to
be
say.
able to like reverse engineer that to figure out where it's trying to draw her to?
Yeah, with those successes, actually, you can pretty much you can still kind of. It's definitely drawing it. You can tell from the direction that it's drawing her in the direction of Arcanon. But it's not necessarily. It's not something that It's not something that you that like is going to actually adversely affect her at all, unless she's in close proximity to the loop. That said, yes, in the same way that that Liao can probably track her using this, you also can track the direction with this as well.
And I guess it would take a little bit more experimentation and like actually moving her around, but would I don't know if we can do it right here, but I would like to see if the connection gets stronger as we get closer,
Mm,
so we can actually get a proximity ratio going.
yeah. That would require you guys leaving the city and heading in the direction of Arcanon, or away from Arcanon. Which, when you go to Brimrad, you will be doing that. So
Yeah.
you could keep an eye on it as you do that as well. Judging from the evidence that seemed to be the case from before, when the connection was still there and Liao was using the loom to remotely ravage Rinzu's mind, the further she got from Arcanon, the weaker it was. And the easier it was for her to resist. Even just judging from the way that Rinzu would be able to describe the mental assaults, it was becoming easier the further she was. So chances are yes, and you'll be able to hopefully maybe get a more of a radius as far as that. That said, you can very much confirm that that all that really remains of this is pretty much the baseline stitching, kind of the first stitch, but it's a stitch that can't be removed remotely. It definitely seems to be tied directly to the loom. But on that same note, while you can't use it to interact with the loom from this distance because it's already been severed a lot, and you may not have been able to do that even if it was still more direct. So too is she effectively free from any sort of danger of the loom at this distance. At a closer distance, it is theoretically possible that the connection could be reestablished. And it would be easier to do so on her because the foundation is already there.
But we can also use the stitching there to discern if Liao is moving closer with the loom.
Yes.
So that's good news.
That said, you can presume that it can sense the direction of the loom, not necessarily Liao herself.
Yeah.
So if she leaves without the loom, you would not know.
Yes, but ultimately what we're concerned about is her using the loom to control Rinzu.
Yes.
And so if just Liao is coming, that means that she likely can't control her.
There's a very good chance that she would be able to without the loom physically present. Because every time that because another thing, Rinzu, every time that she's ever done any sort of magic involving that, the loom has been close to her.
Yeah.
When you were on the ship, it was just below decks. When she was fighting Sting, it was on the cart. So the loom has always been present in some capacity whenever she's done any of that kind of magic.
Yeah.
But she can do other magic.
Yes, presumably.
Yeah.
But also presumably if she's taking her servants in quotation marks with her, that means that she probably has the loom as well. So, but either case, if Liao with the loom is a problem, we can essentially use Rinzu to sense it.
Yeah, basically Rinzu is a loom dowsing rod, as well as tracking device both ways. So that's a good thing, and it's
Well,
not,
Danny.
and it will not be expected to tap into that from here on out. As can do that with action. You kind of both of you, since you've already seen Max since he's here, you could very easily show like how to basically ambient around the heck, and you would be able to kind of set that kind of ethereal tie.
Oh man, we're teaching us out lore. Yeah.
Kinda.
Creepy, fucked up magic.
Well, I mean, he did already get a brief crash course earlier too.
Yeah.
But he's not going to do shit about that. Like,
He has
He is
other
a-
problems.
I mean, like, I feel like he's just going to fuck up the lady that did this.
yeah, mostly like he's also not necessarily equating this to any sort of other kind of magic. It's a magic that he doesn't understand, and he's going to be rightfully cautious about confronting.
So is there anything else we wanted to do with this? Because ultimately we're not
I
going
don't
to be
think
able
we
to remove it.
should do anything else with it.
Yeah, like everything else is going to be like super invasive. So, and this is also super useful to kind of discerning a weakness.
Yeah, now we'll actually be able to know most likely. if she's nearby or not when we go into Brimrad later.
Of course, that only counts if she's with the loom. But
I don't
doubt
think
she
she would
would-
ever leave that behind.
how big is it, Renzu?
It's pretty big.
I was gonna say it's a large.
Does Renzu just gesture like the size of it?
Yes.
Yeah, like there's probably like a teacher's desk in the room of roughly the same size. Like it's a full size loom. We're not talking a small little thing.
So it's actually unlikely that Liao herself will come down if she takes that. But if she does end up having to come down to Brimrad without the loom, she might not know that we know. Regardless, we have
She
stuff to
seems
work
like
with
the
now.
type that likes to be a little hands-on, though. For everything that Rinzu's told me.
I would refer to your bedside manner again.
I don't know what I said wrong.
Holy. But yeah, I think that's everything. With that, unless Renzu had anything that we wanted to test, or she wanted us to test.
I mean, you basically did the things that, like, I really don't know if there's anything else because I can't feel her in my head anymore. So
Yay!
I mean, I don't know if she can still like fuck like with that shit, like, or if she can still like read those emotion things that she did.
It does not seem like that would be possible. Not remotely. Hard to say what would happen if you got closer, but
Really don't want to find that out though.
Likely, if we can get our hands on the loom, I can... With a small amount of luck, be able to remove it from not just you, but the others.
Could.
Then let us hope for that luck then.
Well, it has to be on our side eventually, right?
We've had a great deal of luck.
It doesn't feel like it sometimes.
That's because you tend to see the bad luck as opposed to the good luck when it ultimately balances out in the grand scheme of things. Now I need to work on my bedside manner.
Anything new for year, at least for now. Get our hands on a loom.
How are you feeling, Renzu?
So trying to take it all in.
Fair?
it seems pretty straightforward and as far as this is concerned then. At least she can't affect you through it anymore. So we just have to find this loom and what, make it? Or
Unmake it, most likely.
so magically break it.
Yes.
Fair enough.
That should be easy enough to do. However, it's not ours. Or Liao's.
Also nods.
I recall hearing it was a Fenargese artifact, yes?
Correct.
And I believe we have an actual Fenrongi's ambassador on the way.
Excellent. I'll speak with them then.
Please do.
It might not be a bad idea to do that, but if this thing is as dangerous as it sounds, are we sure we want this to?
We don't know exactly what it is or what it can do.
Or what would
It's
happen
kind
if-
of unfair to assume an object is purely evil based off the usage of one person.
We don't actually know what would actually happen if we broke it either.
Guess that's a good point.
And it might actually upset relations between Legala and Fenrongu. Given what Liao's doing, they might be tenuous regardless.
It's
Things to be concerned
certainly-
about.
It's something we're going to have to contend with once we actually have it, if we can even get it.
Well, I suppose patience then.
At the
I
very
suppose
least,
patience.
perhaps we can convince this ambassador to allow us to at least use it to remove the hexes on, what, 3 of you?
Weren't there more people out of?
There were a
Okay.
couple of others, yeah. Those were just the ones that I.
Yeah. There's more.
Well, then we'll just have to make sure all of you can be released from it.
Indeed.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you guys need to take care of here then?
I don't think there's anything else we can take care of.
Well, there is. You could just rip Rinzu's lore out. Just kidding.
Yeah, we'll
Please
just rip
don't.
all of Rin's lore out, examine it, and then put it back.
Yeah, there we go.
Don't.
Make a new loom to combat that one.
We'll turn Rinzu into a loom.
Don't want to be a loom.
We didn't ask what you wanted.
Bedside manner, Connor.
I don't think Weston wants that either, Connor.
Or does he?
Some of us have to make sacrifices sometimes.
My god, we had the same conversation with Cassander.
What?
No, just like Connor's terrible bedside manner. But
Oh, yeah, when you guys were
was
helping.
unconscious.
Right, at least that. I mean, she's not even in a bed.
Anyway,
Like sitting,
probably move on.
probably.
we'll be here bickering all day.
God.
We don't bicker.
We bicker.
You definitely bicker. You're bickering about bickering.
No, we're not. I'm not bickering with you about bickering.
All right. Bickering aside, bickering aside, Delphine and Cecil landed. You guys were given a very special mission.
And what would it be? Not kidding, I know.
Oh,
But yeah, so you guys were given all the materials and stuff that you guys needed to work on the first flag of this new Legala, this new Legala that you guys are working towards.
Whee!
And let me. Oh shit! I rolled a crafting check to see how you guys like collectively did, and you guys definitely succeeded with the triumph. Jesus.
We don't fuck around with crafts.
I guess not. So
I want you to look at my face and tell me that I fuck around with crafts.
you don't apparently.
Steph, we don't fuck around with crafts here.
You don't. So it takes you guys a little bit, and you guys, it takes you some time like working together, and working with this large fabric that has been prepared for you guys. But though it takes a little bit of time, by the end of it, the finished product is exactly like the image that Connor had projected forth earlier.
It better be, motherfucker. I didn't draw those in MS Paint for nothing. I mean painstakingly embroider them with Delphine for nothing.
Pony.
I mean both. You didn't do both for nothing.
Ponies and gears and ponies and gears and ponies and gears and ponies and gears.
So this would probably take you a couple days of pretty solid work throughout the course of it. You guys probably also have a number of other seamstresses like at your beck and call for helping with smaller parts if you guys need to. And so yeah, but as far as that's concerned, once it's done, shortly before the teams go off on their missions, on the first ones, there would be a basically an announcement meeting that you guys would be able to present your work for. So if there's anything that you guys want to do before that, you can. Otherwise, we can kind of jump straight to the reveal ceremony.
I want
Oh
you to...
goodness.
Oh.
I don't think I've ever been so nervous.
In this one particular instance, you have never seen Cecil be more scrutinizing nor aggressive about stitch quality, length, and etc., etc. Over a millennium of experience is cultivated in this one moment. And I feel bad, besides maybe Delphine, because she's friends with Delphine, but like, what do you want?
These poor fucking no-name seamstresses are gonna get whipped into shape.
They're gonna get taught!
That's okay, because Delphine can literally pick up, a millennia's worth of knowledge in a couple days from watching Cecil. I mean, what?
You think you can pick up a millennium worth of knowledge in a few days? Princess Delphine!
I mean, she's already got a pretty good start.
I'm not eating it.
I mean, you might become a mage that way.
You'd probably
I know
communicate that way.
everyone is fucking telling me that I can become a mage by eating lore, but let me be perfectly clear, guys. Delphine is not eating lore, and if I need to clap in between every one of those words, I will.
So what I heard is that Delphine is going to eat lore in the future.
Delphine is not eating lore.
Anyway,
Delphine the Butcher.
Anyway, I'm glad that took off from a 5-second joke. But with that in mind, honestly, here and there, like, grateful for all the help, all in all, because it's a very, very large project, and after embroidering all those stars on Orion's painstakingly made, cloak, I'm pretty sure that Cecil was like, I'm done! Oh, wait, never mind, there's a flag! Yeah, no pressure! But, Delphine's help is invaluable, and if she wanted to learn, Cecil would be happy to instruct.
Yes. Gimme.
Like, actually, like, all arrogance aside, she's just very proud of her needlepoint in particular.
Yes, gimme. That was like one of the only things that she really didn't get to learn. She's sewing the big pieces. She's not doing a whole lot of needlepoint.
And so Delphine, on top of that, this is also like, let's also not forget this is your first foray into being in Legala. in a Legala that everybody knows who you are. And so a lot of the people who like a lot of the other seamstresses and people that you've been working with have like kind of been treating you with kind of a great deal of respect and curiosity, given that nobody knew you existed until less than a year ago.
That's not necessary. I'm just a person. I'm just Delphine.
And what I definitely definitely like as this all kind of goes about, as you guys are are finishing up, kind of like as the process is kind of nearing completion, Etney will probably be the one to like bring you guys onto stage as it's going. So she'll come and like touch base with you guys briefly, and
Sup, Etney?
and
A lost princess and a dragon in one place.
yep, and Delphine,
It's like a fairy tale.
the identity of this woman is not lost on you, including what this woman has done in the past.
Yeah.
But so she'll come in and we'll I admire the flag with a kind of with awe in her eyes, and you guys got this done rather quickly. This is rather incredible.
Well, Cecil has a lot of knowledge of how to do stuff, and I just know how to do a lot of things quickly because, well, it unfortunately came to that with having nothing to do.
Well, I dare say this looks exactly like what your brother described and showed us with his magic. Except, well, much larger. She says, like looking about.
I don't know. I think it looks better.
Don't tell him. Don't tell him I agreed with you. Perhaps it's the finishing touches and the care that was put into it.
By the way, when she says finishing touches, Cecil's about to open her mouth to say something, and she looks down and squints. And we're gonna grab a needle and fix up a few loose edges.
Cecil's eyes just like no.
The slits get huge for a second.
If the two of you would not mind, I would much like it if you were the ones to reveal this flag to the crowd. If you'd be willing.
Cecil is going to look to Delphine with a look of deference in the sense of this is your country.
And Delphine, especially from you, I believe that people would not mind hearing what you have to say.
What I have to say?
She nods.
I'm just Delphine. I don't. I mean, with the people that I've gotten close to, like I'm more than just Delphine, but everyone else wants to hear from me.
I believe there's a human phrase. It's been, well, what's in a name? And much like, she smiles a little fond, but much like the Andromede name I'm Haven Tree means something powerful here, Delphine. Even if for example, I feel peace. But what you'll see, well, they may shy away from me, surely, given your birth. There's estimate the power of what you could or say here.
Well, I guess I'm making a speed. Oh. Alright then. Okay. I know how much my will mean, but okay.
Delphine, it's the people that need to know who you are, who want to hear from the side of it. The people want to see the kind of people whom they're placing their faith, whom they put trust their fears into. And so when news traveled that there was a young princess born to the late emperor and emperor, you understand that people were curious. They want to know what they knew about you. They want to know the person you are. They see Al Connor, but they don't. When you go on that stage, they will. Through every estimate on your journey here, every trial, every relation, they will see that. And perhaps this is your moment, a moment that you can use to seize that future, seize that change that the people want to see, and begin to shape it. Shape it in a way that your experiences you've seen, which are as valid as valid as anyone's. I believe you have a great deal to tell. Not only them, but all of us.
So basically, get up there and be me and tell my story.
Cecil nods with a bit of a bit of a thoughtful and concerned look on her face. Where, though Delphine, a piece of advice that my mother once passed to me. Long ago. And humans seem to mirror the sentiment in which first impressions are everything in a social sphere. All the people who will believe that they know you from this moment, upcoming as long as you choose to make yourself public, which you have already done, she nods. Your words here will carry weight and carry an impression of you, an idea. This will present the idea of you, more so than you yourself. And so, if you can't get to know these people personally, making a good impression, not only for you, but for Connor and for your whole movement, if you will. It's a pivotal. She takes a breath. This is key for you. And so please choose your words wisely, as this will shape their impression of you for many, many years to come. Though no one should doubt that humans have passion for however long they may live. And as a representative of the much like Etney said, Cecil looks over to Etney, almost seeking confirmation but not needing it, that your words here are going to be the ones that resonate more so than any you may ever will make.
That's not a lot of pressure at all, okay?
And Cecil looks at you completely straight, and it is a lot of pressure, Delphine. Such is the nature of being in the spotlight. And she offers a small smile up at you. And you're not going to be alone up there. But still, it's better to know than to not know. Or so it's always seemed. And she smiles, acknowledging her avid love of reading and of understanding, and for the fact that she's probably been teaching you for the last few days.
You know, like you do.
Yes, like I do with your characters. What?
I don't have a pumpkin teaching thing. What? No.
Nah.
No.
Anyway,
no.
moving on.
Well, I wanted to help. And if
She takes a deep breath. She's not looking at Cecil in particular. That the point where you're like looking beyond them to a point on the wall to center yourself now.
Fair.
if this is how I can help, then this is help.
Leaning into the weight of your birth miss, or one way, this is her attention.
Well, it was something I almost didn't get to do. And now
yet,
it's my so better, right?
I think it does.
Well, then we should probably do this. Finding it way too scared.
I don't think I want to presenting their flag. We show.
I
Right.
was not ready to make a speech tonight. Fuck.
Good.
Okay.
Eh,
God damn it.
In character. Moving on.
All right. And so you guys put the finishing touches on it. Cecil meticulously like triple, quadruple checking it. And the next day, the crowd gathers. Anybody else who's present would be able to be here as well. And just like in the crowd and such. And so as the crowd is gathered, it's not quite as big as the one that Connor had for the speech down in Brimrad, but that's not saying much. It's still really a pretty sizable crowd that's kind of gathered in a square of the main roads of Dalhurst. The early summer day, nice and warm, the sun bright, with clouds dotting the sky. And on the makeshift stage that has been kind of propped up, Etnie is going to stride up onto it, and she stands momentarily in front of everyone, and she hushes everybody as they quiet down as she gets up there and says, "Brothers and sisters, I have something very important to share with you today. Not but a few months ago, Connor stood upon a similar stage and told you of a nation that he wished to see built, a nation that we all wanted to see built. And today we finally have something to represent that." And she looks over off to the side of the stage where the two of you guys are standing. A couple other people there to help you unfurl it and hold it. And she nods to you guys, and the other soldiers look to you guys, and they'll actually hold the flags, and you guys will be able to stand in front of it. And so they start making their way onto the stage. "A great deal of blood has been shed for this battle, or for this war, and a great deal more still before we can finally say that our home is in peace. But that blood is what we remember. That blood is what gives us strength. And as we stand together, we fight. We fight for a day which no more blood need be shed for Legala. Where we can stand on equal terms. And as you guys kind of get on stage with Human, Lagoose, Togwell, and even Manakete, she says, looking over at Cecil as you guys walk up onto the stage.
A sheepish smile is returned.
Where Magi and non-Magi can stand hand in hand. And at that she turns and she'll nod once more as the soldiers kind of a couple getting on some like makeshift little scaffolding so they can kind of unfurl the whole thing in its entirety. It's pretty big. Do you want to do that? Yeah, you could do that instead. Actually, that's a better idea. That's cool. One of the corners.
Yeah, so, because all in all, Cecil wants to be here to show solidarity, because that is the point, but this is Delphine's presentation by any and all means, and she, in fact, views it that way, because also, hashtag not my country.
That's fair.
I don't want to live here. So, with that in mind,
Who does want to live here?
Plenty of people.
I think there's a good amount of people who want to live here. But with that in mind, she probably premeditated, by the way, like this was not a new idea. Well, actually, it's somewhere along the line, Cecil and Beefs, and in front of Delphine, standing behind Delphine, the thing up on her two legs, this will be able to unfurl, because she would hold it up her talons.
Well, obviously, as you transform into a fucking drow. Do you want to make you can riot?
Yes.
I have an extra for you if you want.
Okay. Another in-charm, by the way, that in there, in like Novix.
Jeez, a lot. Okay.
I also have.
Okay,
I make a presentation.
Totally gonna spend it at once.
Also, I have two. Thank you. And also, I probably will have 4 in-charm.
Okay, that's fair. Well, that'll get rid of any.
And
you'll have a boost because you have a lot of the people here. So there are gasps and whispers into a dragon, and just I was holding up the
yeah.
And like releases it. Flag rolls off and is there open as and then sees the soldiers, the 3 other soldiers that are there's Zodian soldier on one end. There's a guard and then a Sons into opposite side.
Oh, we're so symbolic.
Symbology up in here as they unfurl it.
And Delphine's in the front.
Or actually, you know what? Even better. Instead of a Zodian soldier, it's probably a Togwell. That like some kid. They were like, "Hey, do you want to come and do something cool?" Or Rinzu if Rinzu wanted to do it.
I can do it because then like.
Oh man, if only we had some kind of like Togwell on our side.
Oh
that was
no.
recognizable or important.
Yeah. So there we go. Yeah. So, and actually, having a mage up there would probably help too. So probably on the opposite side is like Westland would actually be a good
It's
option
so
too.
symbolic.
Look at this. Look at this symbology. And so upgrading the regular soldiers to PCs and NPCs for a moment.
Well, I can't see Rinzu in all the red and gold.
No,
make a stealth check. And the flag unfurls. It's just 2. Fuck it. God damn it. And with that, Etni actually takes a couple of steps back, and she looks at you. They see you. She looks at you, and she nods. A smile unfurling across her face. Tired smile. Looks at you, Delphine. And the crowd murmurs, and and kind of like chatting. There's some kind of mysticism surrounding the flag as it's unfurled. What were you gonna say, Kendra? Sorry.
Rinzu actually would have given Delphine some advice before this like whole thing happened. Like before she goes out on stage, don't look at the crowd, look at like a building.
Oh, that's good. That's actually good. Thank you.
Yeah, because she can tell how nervous you are, and she's done this, like, she's been performing since she was a child. So she actually would have done that for you.
Okay. You beautiful. Thanks.
Rinzu, so good.
All right.
And yeah, all eyes look to you. You see familiar faces, unfamiliar faces.
Delphine would take a couple steps forward and take a deep breath and try to follow Rinzi's advice and find a point that she could kind of latch onto to look so that she can start to speak.
Hello, everyone. I'm sure by now a lot of you have heard, I guess, heard who I am. But you've only heard rumors, little murmurs here and there. So I'm here to talk to you, and I hope that in doing this that maybe we can all move forward on a united front to make Lagala a better place for all of us. So, hi, I'm Delphine. A lot of you didn't know that I existed until about a year ago, and that's because I was born without magic. As many of you know, that's not a good thing to happen here in Lagala. People who are non-mages have been looked down upon for a long time. I was fortunate in the fact that I had parents who wanted to make sure that nothing bad happened to me. But I can say the way they went about making sure nothing bad happened to me wasn't good for the country as a whole. Because while things would have happened to me had I come out and said that I couldn't do magic, bad things were happening to people who couldn't do magic across the country every day. Bad things were happening to people who didn't look the same as everyone else every day. And I think that while their intentions were good, they could have done more. And that's what I want to do. I want to be here with all of you, fighting to do more, to make this our home, and not just a home for mages or for humans, a home for mages and non-mages, for humans and Lagos and Togwell and even Manicheets. To be able to live and love and be happy. I ultimately think any parent would have wanted that for their child. And I know that's ultimately what my parents wanted for me. And now I want that for everyone, not just me. So I stand here today as we unfurl this flag this symbol of our united efforts to make the country a better place. And I want to tell you that I stand behind this. I am proud to be a part of this movement. No other movement, this one. We are going to make a difference. And this day is where I take back my name, Delphine Haventree, and tell you that we can do this. We can make a difference for everyone. I will do everything that I possibly can to make sure that at the end of this, however long it may take, we all have a place where we can go home and be happy. And that is the most important thing. For us to all be able to live and be happy together. So, hopefully, all of us being here today means that we all want that. A place for all of us to live and be happy together. So, if you are ready to go forth and all work together so we can have a place to call our home, then let's keep fighting. Let's do this. What do you say, everybody? Are you ready?
Can I have you make a charm check real quick?
Good God. I hate speeches.
Can I help her with that?
Yes, I'm gonna give you because she gave you those tips, you can actually count as if your charm was 3, so get 2 free upgrades from Rinzu.
Like that?
Yes, and then it's gonna be just against 3 difficulty. Add a boost dice. You're gonna remove the setback dice because you have knack for it. And then you also have a boost dice from gifted as well.
Yeah, gifted.
Hooray!
All right. You can upgrade if you, with a story point if you want.
Does anyone object?
Yeah, do it.
I'ma do it. If you object, that's your problem. I'm sorry. I mean. Okay.
Oh shit.
Hooray!
And so there's a moment of silence afterwards. And for a moment your heart kind of drops. But then
Shit, I'll clap for her, man.
and then Rinzu starts clapping. With one hand holding the flag, and Westlin and Etney and the others start to clap, and Cecil, I don't think you can clap. Your hands are full.
My hands are tied. Clapping
and like a over the crowd, the rest of the crowd starts to clap and cheer and chant, and they chant the name of Lula, chant him, and they just kind of burst into cheers as it washes over, and as you kind of look out about the crowd, a smile kind of coming unbidden to your face. You Etney and General Shield and everybody else is by. General Shield just smile. He gives you a wing with a warm smile as that goes. And I imagine many of your other friends that are in the crowd, and this is before everybody left, so and all that is obviously there. And they all cheer. With that, Delphine, you were also at your
Hey!
space classes.
Hey, cool! Wasn't so wild, TBH!
And as the flag is kind of slowly back up, and the crowd begins to disperse, you're let off of the stage where a bunch of people who you don't know
God.
come up and like shake your hand and such, and among them, as all of this goes, beyond the people that you don't know, obviously, all of the many of the folk that you do know, obviously, do show their face as well, including your old bodyguard. Thaddeus actually approaches, and he bows, and that was quite inspiring, Delphine. You've done a great deal of growing in your adventure, didn't you?
There is no response, only hug.
Well, and so you give him a hug, and he'll reciprocate, and he'll smile as he reciprocates that and lets you off into the crowd. Warren, of course, would be amongst the people to greet you, as would General Shieldheart and Anna Shieldheart as well. And obviously, I imagine any of the PCs, as well as your speech
PCs
goes
for
over well.
Delphine.
Yeah, no PCs, none at all,
Oh.
except for the ones that were already described to be there, but none others.
Oh. Yeah.
But no, and yeah, so, and with that, you did the thing, and you got a lot of successes. Holy shit, you got 6 successes.
Smile.
And so for the foreseeable future, people, anytime that you walk around, by the way, people are just people will just kind of see you, and they oftentimes like will wave at you and will call you by name, and you're like, I don't know who this person is, but
Hey, I've got a whole lot of new friends now.
yeah, you did. It's very much kind of like you became a celebrity. Congratulations. People know what you are and who you are.
Fuck. Holy shit. I wasn't expecting to get a masterclass tonight.
You did it.
I gotta go
Alright.
back and look at that now.
What the fuck do I do again?
What?
Well, I honestly wasn't expecting to get that for a while.
There's only like 2 missions left for you.
I know, I still wasn't expecting to get it for
And
a
the
while.
campaign's over. By the way, Delphine has her masterclass now.
I mean,
And Delphine has her masterclass. Hooray! You did it.
Yeah, kinda.
She's the
That's what I was
S.
thinking.
She promotes
Okay.
like at the very end of the campaign.
So, Peacekeeper, correct? Yes. Hooray.
Yes.
Alright.
And yeah.
Career.
So other things that people wanted to do. Connor, you wanted to talk to Etney. Is that correct?
That's a thing, yeah.
Cool. And I imagine the Warren talk will probably happen sometime during your mission, like on the road or
I
something.
feel like it'll happen whether I want it to or not. So yeah.
Most likely. Most likely. So are you going to approach Etney?
Oh god, YouTube, why?
And so sometime after, probably after like a meeting, as people are kind of departing and making their way about the, things, you'd be able to snag.
Etney.
And she'll stop and she'll turn towards you. Yes, Connor. What is it?
Would you have some time to talk?
And her brow furrows, and she kind of crosses her arms. She nods and says, "I believe I owe you that much." And once everybody's gone, you guys will have the room. What is honor?
Listen, and you need to understand. And you,
She takes a deep breath. The truth of it, honor? The only reason is because I had to. I know that won't do you any favors.
you had to, or what?
I had to, or everything that I've fought, everything that I've sacrificed, all the people, all the lives that have been for the people who to me. All of those spices would have been washed away. I could not let that happen.
Right now, not.
What we're doing right now is something I dreamed of, Connor. What we're doing now is precisely why I had to do what I did.
They left to do what I accomplished. They didn't. They barely even brought any guards with them.
When we captured your mother and father, we did not plan on taking their lives. I did not plan on it, at the very least. Our original intention was to force demands, to ransom them back to the capital. But intel that was gathered during the course of the conflict, intel that was given to me after they were already in our custody, suggested that all we had done was provide an opportunity for those who opposed your father's rule. That any attempt to ransom them back to Arcanon would end in a situation that caused my people to look as if we betrayed them, to turn them into martyrs for the cause of the loyalists. That Millicent and the others would use that opportunity to do what they're doing now, but without anyone to oppose them.
So naturally, the next step is execution. No other potential paths. no other options.
She shakes her head. None that would have had the same effect. None that would have started any sort of change. Any change that would last more than a half a generation. Nothing that we haven't seen before. Lip service that is later bent and twisted to serve the ends of those who gave it. We had passed the threshold, Connor, and there was no turning back. And it does mean it does mean no kindness to know this. To try and sleep every day, reliving that night or that day. Your parents did not deserve that. You did not deserve that. Delphine did not deserve that. No one. No one deserved to lose Emperor Gavin and Empress Camellia. But without their deaths, we would never see anything that you've accomplished. I firmly believe that. And for that, I could never truly do anything to ever begin to make that up to you, Connor. When all of this is over, when finally Legala can be a place where people need not lose their loved ones in such a way. Not anymore. I understand. If you believe that I should serve punishment for my role in your parents' deaths, I will not stop you. But only once the fighting is over. Once there's no more need for an Andy. If that is what you decide, it would be a disservice to you, your mother, your father, and all of Legala if I expected to abscond from any punishments for what I've done.
You haven't been speaking with Alshur then, have you?
She She quirks her head a little bit. I spoke with her briefly before she left. What do you mean?
I don't intend to punish anyone.
I had heard as much. I suppose my intention for telling you this is that I will not make an exception. If you need to make an exception.
Make me quite a bit of a hypocrite. I'm not gonna punish Purdy. That's just asking for trouble.
I would not lie. A part of me is that, but purely for this reason. There's a reason that people have trusted you with, and that right there, it's a part of integrity.
Called for it.
Millicent would call people a lot of things. Not all of them are true. Connor, I could never make this up to you. And though I don't regret the path that's led us here, I do wish that it had been different.
Yeah, well, that's something we both can on.
I'm glad to have met you, Connor. She's going to hand out for your death.
Killed her.
And after she shakes hands, she'll nod and thank you for being the change, speaking to me.
It needed to be done. People shouldn't have to lose everyone around them.
We'll build a world where they won't. And she'll nod once more. Good afternoon, Connor.
Etney.
She'll turn to leave. And yeah. We'll go ahead and take a quick 10-minute break here. We'll get back to it at 10:05. And I know that we have some stuff to do with Apollo, and I know that I have a conversation for Cecil to do if she wants to talk to some people.
Oh,
Cecil.
I mean,
So what's Cecil been up to? in the time before your mission starts?
That's a very good question. I'm rather sure that Cecil I'm pretty sure that having the flag was to work on was a godsend for her, because there's a lot to be done. But also, it's a little overwhelming, despite the self. She's ready to politics, she's ready to things, but at the same time, it doesn't stop her from being the nervous girl, because that's her entire MO. So, we probably bum around with Orion when he does official things. I'm still his bodyguard.
Guarding that body.
Excuse me. No, because we're not married. But with that in mind, hashtag wait until marriage. And honestly, if there were people who were willing to talk, she would be probably addressing anyone who would care to hear of her, or not even of her, but the idea from the Beast Tribes. Because in the letter that I have yet to write to Leonard that I told you that I was writing, another thing that she was going to be probably saying is, please send a boat or two, if you can. If Intarsia makes her way back, please send boat.
And that's completely fair, yeah. A lot of people would have been really interested to talk to you, or afraid, or both.
That's fair.
You've definitely been hosted by the Church of Dristan a couple of times. They've probably asked you in earnest a lot of questions.
I would happily do that in a thread, because I think it would be funny.
Yeah, they're a little weird, but
I want to see you write them now. We're doing this.
I guess I have to make a profile for the gatekeeper.
The Church of Dristan, the account.
They're a little wacky, but it's funny. You also, while there, probably witnessed a portion of the scene in which one of the Zodian corporals kind of got kicked out of there for basically challenging their religion a little bit, which is funny. But that just kind of on the peripheries. Yeah, you probably spent some time with that. You probably I wouldn't be surprised if some of the other former college students probably if you talk to them for a little bit, just the people and some of the other loggers in Togwell that's around.
Yeah, no, the offer of, just simply getting the word out, because this is not to take you from your homes. This is to provide you more options. It is Cider! Stand in the middle of the floor and scream! Cider! Shut up! What? Oh, sorry. But so letting people know that option is there, just sort of sharing the story of the Manichees, all the things that she said, honestly, throughout, denouncing her people, but also sharing their story, both the good and the bads of it, because there was plenty good about a society, but it also crumbled under its own weight and its own bigotry. And also sharing that that's another reason why I am here.
Yeah.
Because Legala does not have to be a repeat of the Draconian Empire.
That's completely fair.
And so that's kind of the general rhetoric that's going around. Downtime is spent with Orion and any other friends who are around or who want to hang out with her. She probably hangs out with Penelope a lot. And anyone else who is in the area.
And so at some point when you're going about your business, you as you're heading back probably from one of these and such, you're probably not alone. You probably have some escorts and stuff to make sure that
thanks that I don't get stabbed,
assassinated or some shit.
That's pretty. Thanks Zodia.
There's
I'll pay it back someday.
I'm sure you will. And there's a small voice. Excuse me. Not kind of distance away where you can hear it, but it's not like a shout.
That doesn't stop her from jumping. But yeah, Cecil, hold on a moment. She says to her, and she searches for this.
And not far from you, you see a woman that you seen with Dan. Judging from her appearance, mother. She's dressed in full kind of white, brown, loose tunic and robes, easy for the summer. And she on her.
Okay.
And she smiles. Her bright red hair has like a little tinge of a gray streak in it. Do you have a moment? Cecil, was it?
She inclines her head, and how tall is Delia? I'm just trying to.
She's probably about 5'6".
Okay, average.
Yeah.
Just inclining her head up. She offers a very polite curtsy and greeting, and yes, you have it correct. And are you Davian's mother?
She smiles and nods her head. You can call me Delia. It's a pleasure to meet you, Cecil.
And it's good to meet you as well.
Do you mind if we walk and talk for a moment?
Cecil agrees, and of course.
We need not leave the main roads if your escorts are concerned. And I shan't take up much of your time. I understand that as one of King Orion's personal guards, you likely have much and more to take care of.
She smiles a little, and I would like to get back with him but as long as it's before dark.
Oh, well, I won't be robbing you of your time for that long. And she gestures like forward as she kind of leads the way. And I have to say, Cecil, it's more than a little bold for you to have come to Legala. I trust you know of your people's. I trust you're rather informed of your people's history here in such a place.
And I'm aware of both sides of all sides of the histories at this point.
Sorry.
Oh, it's interesting to know what I grew up with versus what the Legalan Ash Codex says versus what Alstromaria has said that she's seen.
That was certainly an interesting read. That is for certain. I grew up in an extremely religious family. My father was until he passed away recently.
My condolences.
It's difficult to be too sad when you have not spoken with them for a while. Davian's father is not a mage. As such, my love for him was forbidden. I had to give up my family name if I wanted to start a family and be with him, which I did so without regrets. But through all of that, I learned. I delved deeper into the Ash Codex than most people would ever dream of doing. During my training as a priestess, my brother, my mother, my father, most of our family is a part of the clergy.
I see.
It's surreal walking down the streets with a person who your whole life you've been trained to believe was this entity bent on destruction and chaos. But, well, you're hardly a creature and certainly not bent on chaos, nor destruction.
She smiles a little sad. And, you know, the Manichees themselves were born and raised by structure. There was any dissenters with a proclivity for anything but the Yoru would be subsequently. She looks rather disapproving at this aspect element, but she says it sort of even-toned, in acceptance in her voice. There was harsh punishment for those who would dissent outside of their ranks. I'm reminded of them when I see or when I hear of the struggles between mages and non-magi. Here, emblems and flights and names and titles kept many an individual apart. But I suppose, thank you, Delia. Regardless, I'm not certain what to expect when we go to face the clergy. I don't expect it to be easy by any means. Though I've also spoken with the beast tribes, the people that my people transgress the most.
Though that may be true, I think it's safe to say that both you and I are accustomed to having our worldviews challenged and thrown on their sides and completely torn down to be rebuilt brick by brick. If I'm to wager a guess, perhaps you even more so than I.
It matters not how many bricks need to be laid, nor if it's been a year, a month, or a millennia. In my case, I suppose. And which may be unfair to say. Humans accrue wisdom at a rate that would have been deemed unprecedented. But I still, even if it's simply challenging in perceptions, I saw you praying the first day that I arrived on shore with Prince Orion or King Orion. I don't think she would have said Prince, but Steph says Prince still.
Some old habits die hard. I believe there's still comfort to be found in reaching out to the goddess.
She falls quiet for a little bit as they're walking, and kind of lets their footsteps sort of fill the silence for a moment while she thinks about what Delia just said. You know, my people didn't quite worship anything but themselves and the society that they built. There was no higher power. There was little to worship when you were the strongest thing. And you know, if it's true that if the theory is true that Manichees, that the amethyst emblem became human, at least in part, and that much of their magic was imparted through draconic means, or through draconic blood. Which I don't say that to continue to challenge ideas, by the way. I would simply like to note that perhaps it was force of a stronger predator, Or perhaps there was something good to be human. To have a shorter lifespan, to be free of whatever came before. There is something to it, I would have to say. And while I suppose it still feels like it's a bit new, or it is a bit new to me. It's only been a year. But humans are incredible overall in their resilience, in their in how 20 opinions on the same can be a person. It was never a thing. Not with us. And so I really just say.
And I you. So much to see. That's what I've learned over the course of my life. More so ever. Though it's still just. Even the manicure, not the turn of Ashling, we share this world. And I think something to be said at. Indeed, the fact that you're here helping King Orion, helping all family, fighting against the injustice that not even yours, that wasn't even yours, not then or now. I think that alone is to your character. This was never my story to really. It was my war to fight. But it fills my mind with pride to see it being fun. And even if it's not, we were ought to believe if she's not that we were lives, if she's still somehow, or even if not, one must wonder if Aisling would still be proud of all of this, of everything we've accomplished. But pardon my musings.
And on the converse, I do think this fight still, to a point anyway, at least the part that I'm here to actively campaign against, is a legacy that my people started. And they were certainly finished by the legacy. In one way or another, Aisling saw, and for all the good that Manicheets could have had in the individual, the society itself was it toppled under its own weight. When you live as long as my people do sometimes, and when you call yourself an other because you're bigger, stronger, or longer lived, then what's the point? And I see Legala's struggles very much mirroring that of what my people went through, perhaps on a different scale, but a very similar state, and the Togwell and Lagus are left right in the middle, right where they have always been. Until they fought tooth and claw to take what should have been theirs all along. But in that regard, by the way, they do know about Piper and Davian at this point. That has been okay. Yeah. I didn't just want to drop something that wasn't not my business.
They learned that pretty quickly.
Okay, as a note, because I couldn't remember, but I just want to check. Yeah. But for every moment that you're here, for every conception or misconception or conception, depending on what it is, for everyone that you're challenging, there's another way that your son can follow in your stead and love who he chooses to. So, I wouldn't sell yourself short in the fact that it may not be one person's fight directly, but what you're standing here for is acceptance of the path that you chose and well, the path that Davian chose as well. To love someone other than